Why aren't my phone calls connecting? Well, it's complicated. I'm Woody Huffines. I'm the nurse to go in McKinney, Texas, and this is Tech for the Untechnical. Over the last couple of 3 weeks, VoIP providers, or VoIP, Voice over Internet Protocol providers, worldwide have been attacked with a distributed denial of service attack, or a DDoS. We talked earlier about DDoS attacks and what a distributed denial of service attack is, and what it is a botnet, or a bunch of robot computers that's controlled by some nefarious organization will send out a flood of ICMP ping packets or request packets or whatever, and just overwhelm a service on the internet because it gets a whole lot of input that requests an output, and it freezes the server up, and it uses up all of the server resources to answer a ping request or an ICMP ping packet, or there's a number of different ways to do a distributed denial of service. So what happens is that the web server gets so overwhelmed with all the requests that are coming in that it can't function and give you the information that you need. For example, you can't reach Amazon.com to order your book because there's a DDoS, or distributed denial of service attack going on Amazon. The Amazon servers can't respond to you. Now, this was a big deal 10, 12 years ago. Well, Cloudflare and the other backbone big internet providers figured out ways around this, whether it's a distributed content network, or if it's switching IP or changing around the DNS, or putting up something that makes sure that it's a web browser and not a robot that's trying to reach the website. Sometimes, I don't know if you've been online, especially on the security websites, because the security websites are one of the big targets for a distributed denial of service attack. The bad guys go after the security websites. So sometimes you'll go to a website and there'll be an intermediate screen that'll pop up that says, "Just a minute, we're checking," and it's to make sure that you're actually trying to access the site with a browser like Edge or Chrome or something like that, that there's a person on the other end, and it's not a botnet that's just sending out requests for the service. So from the web services side, we've gotten pretty good at handling DDoS attacks by having some mitigations in place to make that happen. So that if a DDoS attack happens to a web service, they've got switch over to solve that problem in seconds, if not minutes. In the last couple of week and a half, the bad guys have figured out that Session Initiation Protocol, or SIP servers, it's a Session Initiation Protocol server. It's the server on a voice over internet protocol that establishes the connection. And so it says, "Hey, this is Fred. I'm talking to John. Hey, these are the codecs I use. Here's how I do this. Y'all ready?" And then we make that connection. Well, the SIP servers are not hardened against DDoS attacks because nobody's attacked SIP servers. Well, that's not the case anymore. Starting last weekend, there were some bad actors and it started in the UK, that were attacking the SIP servers, and the SIP servers were not hardened, and then they started a ransomware attack. So if you're a voice over internet protocol provider, and all of a sudden none of your customers can reach you because they can't call you because your phone system's down, because the internet backbone of the voice over internet protocol has been attacked with a DDoS attack, then people can't make phone calls, so they can't call you. And then the bad guys switched over to doing DDoS attacks against their website, so that the customers couldn't change. In the case of the first one, that was the serious one, it was a place over in the UK, and they had a it's a no contract, no commitment thing, really easy to change your internet, your voice over IP provider if you want to. So they shut down their website so that the customers that weren't getting phone calls couldn't go to the website to change providers. So all of a sudden, a business critical application for your business, doctor's office, lawyer's office, just about anybody, you need your phones, and all of a sudden your phones are down. And the voice over internet protocol provider can't put the website up for you to change to get your service back. And so this rolling attack happened over a couple of 3 days. And it was making a lot of people nervous. Well, in the last 3 days, starting on Monday, this is Wednesday, bandwidth.com, which is one of the tier 1 internet service voice over internet protocol service providers in the United States, is now suffering from this DDoS attack. Now, you've probably never heard of bandwidth.com, But you probably have heard of Microsoft and Amazon and Ring Central and 911 centers. Almost all of the 911 centers in the United States are controlled by bandwidth.com, and bandwidth.com is having voice over internet protocol outages. So now this attack has gotten not only to the United States, but to the backbone of the voice over internet provider that really does a lot of the underlying white label work. For example, you've never heard of bandwidth.com, but you've heard of Ring Central. Well, Ring Central uses bandwidth.com to provide their services. And today, if you look up on the website, Ring Central, for example, is having problems with incoming and outgoing calls for their VoIP services for their businesses. Now, put yourself in the position of the business. Do you pay a big ransom to keep your customers and to have your customers' infrastructure working when you don't know that they will stop this attack on your business? And if they don't stop the attack on the business and you spend a bunch of money to try to get it to stop, what do? It's odd that this isn't showing up a lot in the press, because this is a big dang deal. The FCC requires that if a 911 call center is down for more than 30 minutes, that the FCC is notified within 240 minutes. That ship left the port on Saturday, so the FCC and the feds have got to be aware of this. The reason that I want to talk about it today is that you need to understand that a lot of our world is centered around the internet. Whether it's our email or our increasingly SMS messages or web accounts or email accounts and Teams and Skype and all these ways that we communicate are in large part run by an internet protocol like the voice over internet protocol. Most of the businesses that we deal with use VoIP phones because they've got an internet service. They might as well use that internet service for their calls as well. What this points up to is, I think, three things. The first thing, as an individual or as a business, you have to have a backup plan. If you use your phones, how are you going to communicate with your customers? And you got cell phone, you got Teams, you got email, you got SMS, you got a bunch of different things that you can do. So if your phones go down, you need to have a backup plan to how to talk to the people that you need to talk to let them know that there's a problem. Second thing I think you need to understand is that in today's environment, the risks to small business are growing exponentially. Whether it's a ransomware attack, a phishing attack, a distributed denial of service attack against your phone provider, there are a whole bunch of things that are going on in the world that make it very difficult to have a safe computing architecture. And the third thing that I think is important for you to understand is the idea that I talk to with a lot of small businesses is, well, we're a small business. You know, they're going after Sony. They're going after the Department of Defense. I'm just a small provider. I'm not really that worried about having a big ransomware attack on me. Against small businesses, ransomware attacks are up 200% this year. Think about it this way. If you're a bad guy, do you go try to rob the cops at the police station? Or do you go someplace on a street corner where somebody probably doesn't have a gun? The same thing is true for your small business. The bigger businesses have devoted the IT resources and the security resource skills and infrastructure that makes them safer, so their bad guys are going after the low-hanging targets. The bottom line is, if you're having phone problems today, it's not because you're a small business, it's because the bad guys are targeting the big businesses, and there's a trickle-down effect. If you want to talk about these things, give us a call at Nerds to Go and we'll talk about it. I'm Woody Huffines. I own the Nerds to Go in McKinney, Texas. This is Tech for the Untechnical. If you find this helpful, hit the subscribe button, mash the notification bell, leave us a comment, and let us know what you think. We'll talk again soon.